What's up, everyone? It's Josh, the fucking metal nerd here again. And finally, after delay after delay, we are going to do my favorite video for the year. And this will be obviously the top 25 albums of 2021, and what a year it was. What a fucking slam-packed year with great metal releases. These are all going to be basically metal or metal adjacent releases. So why don't we just get into it? At number 25, we got a tie: Powerwolf Call of the Wild and Enforced with Kill Grid. Powerwolf Call of the Wild is, of course, a theatrical, catchy as fuck power metal album. I've liked pretty much everything I've heard by them. This is again one of their best, and Enforced by Kill Grid was really the only thrash metal album that I really liked this year, with crazy guitar solos and crazy riffs. It's an all-out great banger from start to finish. Number 24, Key Gen Church, with an album that I don't know how to pronounce the fucking symbol. It looks like a barcode or whatever. It's basically synthesized classical music. It's like programmed, all this classical sounding, like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach on crack, mixed with computer riffy noises. That just, it's not necessarily metal, but it's metal adjacent. It's kind of got the feel of a heavier release. Not to mention, it's just really interesting concept, really well executed, and really well composed. Such a great album. Number 23, with Woad, Burn in Many Mirrors. This is the first black metal album on the list, and it is one of the best, obviously, of the year. It is a straight up black metal album with a lot of really good lead work, a lot of good tremolo riffing. His vocals sound absolutely vicious. Sounds like they may have a little bit of influence from Speed or new wave of British heavy metal just sprinkled in there for a bit. Would be higher, but there's so many other great releases. So Woad, Burn in Many Mirrors. 22. The 22 spot, Wizard Throne with Hypercube Necro Dimensions. What a weird fucking release. This is blackened power melodic death metal, perhaps, it's a super group of sorts with members from Necrogoblikon, Glory Hammer, and Ailstorm. So that puts it right up my alley. It's got this weird fucking sci-fi story with great lead parts, great riffs, great compositions, great vocals. Everything in it is just weird and can be somewhat cheesy a little bit. It's crazy out there type of shit. But it's good. I fucking love it. Number 21, Worm with Forever Glade. A swampy, sludgy, horrifying release with great got that great low end sound. Sometimes they do some decent lead solos and lead work mixed with those really heavy riffs that they do. A little bit of influence from black metal left over from their earlier days, but this is a good swamp sludge type of release. Worm with Forever Glade. Number 20, one of my favorite bands in the whole world, Leprous with Aphelion. And ever since Bilateral and Coal, none of their other albums have really matched up to that, but all of them have been good. After Pitfalls a couple years ago, that seen them go into a lighter, more prog rock territory. This is still more prog rock than prog metal, but they still bring out some of their earlier tricks, some of their more weirder compositions. Even has a few of their screamed vocals towards the end of the album. It's got some really meaningful, amazing lyrics. It is prog rock / metal that is just, they're still the kings of Norwegian prog rock / metal that I have heard. Every album has been somewhere on my list This is no different. Leprous Aphelion. Number 19, Ophidian Eye with Desolate. And this is technical death metal that takes you on a cosmic roller coaster. It's fast as fuck. The guitars are explosive. It is tech death meets Dragon Force, and what I mean by that is those really technical, insane power metal like melodic guitar solos that just rip your fucking face off. It is a cosmic storm of amazing proportions, great from start to finish. The time the album just flies by. It's just amazing tech death. Ophidian Eye, Desolate, number 18, Tribulation with a Gloom Becomes the Sound. If any of you watched my other channel, Agent Mad Hat, you'll be aware that their album Children of the Night was my number one for 2015, and I haven't liked any of their albums quite as much, but I've still liked all of their albums that I've heard since then. This one being such a great mix of mellow death and goth rock with a little bit of black metal sprinkled into the mix for good measure. I really like The Hour of the Wolf. A lot of the other songs on here that just make this record a great black death goth masterpiece. So then we get to number 17, which is Spiritbox with Eternal Blue. And this is a metalcore album for those who do not like metalcore. That's what I would call this album. The only criticism that I really have of it is that it's incredibly overhyped. There's some big name publications and places that are some reviews that are acting like they reinvented the wheel of metalcore, and that's not true. But yet this is one of the best metalcore. They have done something with metalcore that's not really done all that often. It's made it a little bit more atmospheric, a little bit more brooding, as well as having those all-out metalcore bangers like Holy Roller. So just a great album from start to finish. I don't really have any complaints with the album other than it's overhyped. But overhyped does not equal a bad album. It just means don't expect the greatest thing that you've ever heard. It is a great album, but not some mind-blowing classic for decades to come. Number 16, First Fragment with Gloria Eternal. The metal gods look down upon us and ask, how many solos would you like? And First Fragment said, we want to do all of the guitar solos, all of them. So every single song is filled with these neoclassical shredding solos with the fretless bass taking the lead lots of times, with just trading off these ridiculous fucking solos all throughout the whole thing. The only complaint, the only reason it's not higher is this album is long as fuck, and sometimes it's hard to get through just because of the sheer length of it, and there's only, sometimes there's only so many ridiculous guitar solos you can go through before the album starts to wear on you just a little bit. Not saying that it's a bad album, I'm just saying it's maybe a touch too long. Still, one of the best technical death metal releases of the entire year. First Fragment, Gloria Eternal. And number 15, Chelsea Wolfe and Converge with Blood Moon 1. This is kind of a metalcore, folky, doom, like really crushing, sludgy, doomy fucking masterpiece. This is a match that was a match made in heaven or hell, if you want to say that. It's just a really solid mixture of Converge, and with the addition of Chelsea Wolfe adding to their mix, it's Converge not doing so much of their fast chaotic shit, but more of their crushing riffs, more of Chelsea Wolfe's haunting vocals added into the mix. And even they still have some all-out bangers, but this album just is just such a really, really powerful release. I hope they do more collabs in the future. Blood Moon, number 1 by Chelsea Wolfe and Converge. Number 14, and one of the best tech death albums of the year, Obscura with Valediction. This is a brand new, not a brand new, but a newer Obscura, where they add a lot more influences from melodic death metal. Now, that doesn't mean they're not still technical and progressive and cosmic, but this just means that their guitar solos and their guitar leads have a little bit more of that melodic influence on them while still being shreddy, still being technical. I like every song on this whole friggin' album, but let me see which one that it was really, really got to me the other day when I was listening to it. I think it was Devoured Usurper or The Beyond. I think that was what it was. The one that I really, really, really liked. But this album is such an amazing fucking record from start to finish. Obscura with Valediction. Then at number 13 you have Between the Buried and Me with Colors 2. A worthy fucking sequel to the first one. If you like Between the Buried and Me, most likely your favorite by them is Colors. And years, I think it was 2007 when they released that one. Now, over a decade later, and they're releasing a sequel that is such a worthy successor. It has so many good drum parts, so many good the song structures just go wild and chaotic. A lot of callbacks to the original album. It just so much buried in it that you have to listen to it over and over again. There's layers and layers into the lyrics, and it almost kind of reminds you of an album about kind of the modern world and everything seeming kind of robotic and everything seeming monotonous and draining. It is a really, really fantastic release. Between the Buried and Me with Colors 2. Number 12, avant-garde, blackened avant-garde metal by Catafalque with Vedek. Holy shit, Thy Catafalque is one of those bands that really deserve the name avant-garde. They seamlessly blend so many different genres, from electronic to folksy to black metal to straight up metal to all kind of influences from all different spectrums of music, and blend it into this incredible metal release that just, I think there's even one that sounds a little bit like a freaking like an old west type of galloping type of thing. Incredible album. If you have never heard of these people, check them out. Check out this one and check out Meta. And there's some other ones, but these two have been my favorites so far. That brings us to number 11 with Epica Omega. This is epic power metal. Female vocals, obviously Simone Simmons is one of the best vocalists in metal. I know her from originally know her from her collabs with early Camelot albums, but this one is no different. This is her part melodic and catchy, and part just crushing and brutal. There's a lot of songs that just get stuck in your head with her vocal performances, the guitar work. Everything is catchy. Everything is awesome. Everything from start to finish is just what you love from this type of genre. Everything works perfectly. Everything's well executed. It's great from start to finish. Nothing is out of place. Everything is in its right place on this. What else can you say? Number 10, we are in the top 10 top tier albums right here. All of these are top tier, but these are top tier. Number 10 with The Lion's Daughter, Skin Show. This is Lion's Daughter is a band I never heard of, and a big shout out to the Metal Meltdown for introducing me to this band via his review of this album. This is like 80s horror synth with blackened sludge metal that's just, the whole thing is just really unsettling. It's not scary as in like, oh, you want to close your doors and lock your windows. It's just mildly unsettling and disturbing throughout the whole thing. There's these 80s type of horror synths in the background. The way they blend in the synth from 80s horror to a new wave synthesizer is really great. His vocals are sludgy vocals, wouldn't be out of place on a Mastodon record or a Baroness record. That growly, gruff, shouting, singing type of vocal, and it's just really, if you want if you love horror movie soundtracks to things like The Exorcist, you'll really love the synth work here. They've created a really good, really unique, really creepy, unsettling sounding album that's just fucking amazing. The Lion's Daughter with Skin Show. Number 9, we're gonna have another tie here because making this list I kind of wanted both of these albums in the top 10 but didn't know where to place them, and there's too many albums to rank. Kektarock with Pale Swordsman, and Wolves in the Throne Room with Primal Arcana. Hang on, I think I fucked that title up, but you know it, the Wolves in the Throne Room release. And both of these, Kektarock just has this really, it's almost a romantic type of black metal album, if that makes any sense. It takes a lot of cues from old school Burzum and Transylvanian Hunger as far as the way the synthesizer, the way the synth is built into it, and the way the production is. It's got that ultra raw, ultra lo-fi production. The vocals remind you of Burzum a little bit. But the lyrics are just like a romanticism and really like depressive, but not. But it's almost dark beauty that you have in this release. While Wolves in the Throne Room is, of course, crafted out a genre that they call Cascadian black metal. It is atmospheric black metal with a lot of influences from the lyrics take a lot of influence from paganism and Wicca. Very natural sounding. It reminds you of being out in nature, out in the mountains. It has, a lot of repetitive riffs, but those riffs kind of just hypnotize you. It takes you into this whole mindset of being out in nature, of ancient rituals, and of the beauty of nature, of being one with nature and find the natural world. And it's just so atmospheric and so engaging and captivating that it really deserves this top 10 spot. It really does. It probably might even be my favorite Wolves in the Throne Room album. Number 8, a band and an album that is criminally underrated this year. Atom, I think is how you pronounce it. It's spelled ATVM. I think you pronounce it Atom. It is famine, putrid, and fucking endless. This is a different kind of prog death metal band. This is taking progressive metal back to the old school days of it, back to the Chuck Schuldiner days of it, back to the days of Atheist, where it adds a lot of jazz influence, sprinkles a little bit of post metal throughout, sprinkles a little bit of black metal influence. The drummer is fucking fantastic on here. And instead of, most technical and progressive death metal these days has that shiny sound to it, that polished type of shiny cosmic sound. This has that gritty, grimy, old school sound to it. That old school Obituary, Morbid Angel, Death type of sound to it, with jazz influences and prog influences, where the songs just can sometimes meander into different sections that just, it's so expertly crafted and well crafted and well produced. It really captures that old school death metal sound while also being completely progressive and technical at the same time. Atom with Famine, Putrid, and Fucking Endless. Number 7, Spectral Wound with a Diabolic Thirst. And this is the sound of second wave black metal, such as Darkthrone, encapsulated into something a little bit catchy, encapsulated into the modern production sound as well. It's not a ripoff of Darkthrone or second wave black metal, but it captures that catchy riffs, catchy, not like catchy, but catchy for black metal. Things that get stuck in your head, and that have some good tremolo melodies in it, with songs like Frigid and Spellbound. This is just a perfect straight up black metal release. Spectral Wound, a Diabolic Thirst. Number 6, not technically a metal album, but I would put this against any death metal album for sure. Like brutality and heaviness as far as the content of the music goes, as far as the sound goes, as far as how she mixes classical and operatic with noise rock, this pure noise rock, and just the way her vocals sound so fucking tortured and sometimes completely psychopathic. They're just amazing, just amazing music here by Lingua Ignota. It's not the same as Caligula. You don't have those black metal shrieks or really any of those crazy guitar riffs. It's a more it's a more lighter sound, but it's still a completely uncomfortable, completely disturbing type of listen to, and a true masterpiece. Lingua Ignota with Sinner Get Ready. Number 5, we are in the top 5. These albums are perfect or near perfect. Number 5, Cradle of Filth, Existence is Futile. And if you know me, and you know my love for Cradle of Filth, you'll be very surprised that this isn't in the top spot. There were 4 more albums that superseded it, what can I tell you? But this album is, again, continuing their hot streak. Ever since 2015 with Hammer of the Witches, they've had Rick Shaw and Ashok on guitars, Daniel Firth on bass, and they sound completely rejuvenated. This is no different here. The only difference in lineup would be we lost Lindsay Schoolcraft. Not lost her, she left the band. But we gained Annabelle from Devilment, and she does a fantastic job with the keyboards. Everything is Cradle of Filth, just like you love them. Theatrical. They add, all this melody. They still have the melodic tendencies. They are tackling a little bit more of a serious, real-world issues here on this one. This is all about existential terror and existential dread, and they have some things about climate change. They have it has a lot of heavy material in it lyric-wise, but it also has those really melodic and atmospheric songs such as Necromantic Fantasies that really remind you of something like A Funeral in Carpathia, or some of their older material. So this is just an incredible album. Cradle of Filth doing what they've been doing for the past 3 albums. I like it a little less than Cryptorania, but hell, it is a good Cradle release. Number 4, Mastodon with Hushed and Grim. Cannot for the life of me understand why some people would think this is their worst album, or call it boring, or that it's not good. And maybe I'm biased, but this is an album that I desperately needed. This was such a cathartic listen for me because it came out right around the time when I was going through some heavy grief with the loss of my cousin. I was going through some heavy grief, and then put this album on, and it explores all those range of emotions. This is an album that's dedicated to their former manager, who died of cancer years ago, and it just explores all the different emotions it just has. I mean, to me, this is their best since Crack the Sky. Yeah, it's really long, and if you can't pay attention to a long album, you know, then you probably really will hate it. But it does so much good, stuff. It's them diving head first right back into prog rock territory, the way, not necessarily as psychedelic as Crack the Sky, but in a more brooding type of way. They've got that keyboard solo that I think it's a session musician that does it, but that keyboard solo, and Hushed and Grim really is a good title because it's more laid back. It's prog metal, prog rock, but more laid back, more scaled back, with such amazing and heartbreaking lyrics. Two of my favorites, on the song Dagger, where he talks about the price we paid to know you, and he talks about, I couldn't bear to look as they covered you with dirt, and left. I can't bear to believe that you've left this earth, and talks about all the days and how many nights that you brought pleasure. And then at the very end, the very last song, Gigantium, the very ending line, the mountains we made in the distance, those will stay with us. So those will stay with us. What we did together, the things that we built together, even if that person's gone, those things, there are big parts of your life that those things will remain even after they're gone. And it's just such an amazing exploration of grief and loss and death. Number 3, Ad Nauseam, Imperative, Imperceptible Impulse. This was always going to be way near the top no matter what came out this year, because this is such a weird, horrifying, ridiculous piece of avant-garde tech death. If you want to talk about who you could compare them to, the best thing I can think of is Gorguts with the album Obscura. But Ad Nauseam is their own beast. They made their own instruments to play this. That everything, it's perfectly composed, finely tuned chaos is what this is. That this is just, you're listening to a bad acid trip. This is just swirling and whirling and cavernous and just fucking soul destroying, fucking like you're lost in some kind of black hole, and everything's just swirling around you. Guitars with multi-tonal polyrhythmic shit that's going on. Everything is just out of control and chaotic and scary. It is a modern avant-garde masterpiece right here. Ad Nauseam, Imperative, Imperceptible Impulse. Number 2, which was my number 1 until September or November. I think it might have been November. But this was my number 1 for most of the year. Mare Cognitum, Solar Paroxysm. This is cosmic, spacey, atmospheric black metal. All the songs are really long, but they are all so engaging, and you have to really pay attention. You find something new every time. It is just incredible, atmospheric, cosmic release. Everything's incredible. The lead work's incredible. The riffs are incredible. The lyrics are incredible. The vocals are incredible. Everything just works. It just works as a atmospheric, spacey black metal release. Number 1, Stormkeep, Tales of Other Time. Could it be any other? This is me we're talking about. And everybody has, most metalheads have their genre. The genre they care deeply about. The genre that is near to their heart, that got them into extreme metal. And for me, it was second wave black metal, specifically early Dimmu Borgir and Emperor. And this distills everything great about the golden age of black metal into one amazingly melodic, catchy and brutal experience. This is also has some dungeon synth tracks on here. It could be accused of just being basically a tribute band, which is a tribute to the whole genre of second wave. For influences, it has the sound of Sacramentum, early Dimmu Borgir, Emperor, a little bit of Satyricon, a little bit of Dissections added in there, but it is its own animal. They are their own beast, and this is one of the best debuts in recent memory of any album of any band. So this takes everything great about old school black metal and just distills it into this wonderful album. How many times have I, like, in my house, like, having that one line in my head, "Oh, it's hard, strong, and powerful." Like, just all the melodic guitar licks, some good solos thrown in there. The production is just shitty enough to be second wave black metal. Everything is just in its right place. So the award for Best of the Year goes to Stormkeep, Tales of Other Time, finally making this video, finally putting it out there after 12 days into the new year. A little bit late, so I apologize to the 4 people that are subscribed to me, but this is the video that I love to make. Stormkeep, Tales of Other Time. Peace, motherfuckers.